Good morning, my friends. Welcome to church, in person and on camera both. It is so good to be with you this morning. You all look beautiful today. I'm the Reverend Roger Peltier with Worship Associate Annie Bissett and New York City's premier dramatic soprano, Miss Jeanette Lalliere. We will be spiritually fed today with beautiful music. You're in for a feast. On behalf of all of us, please do accept our warmest hospitality from all the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we love beyond belief and vaccinate for relief because we love you. Welcome home.
Please join me in reciting the words for our chalice lighting, which are found in your order of service. This light
burns also in our hearts, and it lights our path toward harmony, justice, and hope for all. For our invocation this morning, I offer the words of French poet Richard Brevoort. All of us belong, each and every one, in this sacred circle. We have heads and hearts and fingers and toes and instincts and souls. Indeed, from our fingers to our souls, no matter quite how it is that we fit together in all of our splendid diversity and the strength of our unity, we belong here. So let us smile broadly, and from your seats, unfortunately we can't get up yet, but from your seats, wave to one another and wave to the people at home too, as they shout and wave to us too. Good morning, welcome. Hello, friends, indeed. This is the day we have been giving. Say yes. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
This is a reading from a UU minister named Marcus Hartleaf. The Unitarian Universalist congregation where I served as an intern made a mosaic tree of life the summer before I arrived. Congregants of all ages came together to craft the tree's leaves using bits and pieces of broken ceramics, jewelry, glass, and stone. There are many precious personal items in the tree, including fragments of the Berlin Wall, a father's watch face, pieces of great-grandmother's china, and a key to the front door of a loved home. Like the members of the community that brought them together, each part is imbued with memories and meaning. Each fragment holds a piece of truth. Unitarian Universalists are mosaic makers. We are a people who bring together the broken pieces of our histories and the shining pieces of our seeking, and piece by piece create a mosaic religion. Our tree of life is found in the stories of our living tradition. The bead from a transformational moment of worship at a youth conference, the bit of paper stamped with the blazing emblem of the Unitarian Service Committee that saved lives during World War II, the button or patch on a backpack that proudly proclaims the first justice issue that lit our souls on fire. But our mosaic making tells another story too, one that is often more difficult to see, one that is essential to the purpose of religious community, one that lies not in the beautiful and broken bits and pieces, but in the grout. Grout, the chalky, gritty stuff that is squeezed between the cracks of tiles. In a mosaic, The grout holds the image together, unifying disparate pieces into a whole. The grout of a community takes years to lay and settle. Grout happens in board meetings and committee meetings and endless emails and slow-moving institutions. It is in weekly potlucks shared by neighbors, a ride to church, and coffee in the social hall after worship. While the folks who show up for church only on Christmas and Easter will hopefully enjoy the beauty of the mosaic they find, they may never know the power of the grout that holds us through all the seasons of life. We help to make the grout when we learn each other's names and when we reach out across generational divides. We help to make the grout when we show up on Sunday morning without having checked first to see whether the sermon is going to be interesting. It is in the grout that we rest when we gather to grieve and memorialize a beloved one who has died. And when a newborn arrives to be blessed by the community, it is the grout that enables us to welcome them.
Jeanette?
Maggie and May went down to the beach to play one day. And Maggie discovered a shell that sang so sweetly she couldn't remember her troubles. And Lily befriended a stranded star whose rays 5 languid fingers were. And Molly was chased by a horrible thing which raced sideways while blowing bubbles. And May? Round stone as small as a world, and as large as a world. For whatever we lose, like a you or a me, it's always ourselves we find in the sea. Maggie, Lily, and Molly and May. Maggie, Lily, and Molly and May. Maggie and Lily and Molly and May.
One of the ways first you transform love into action is by the sharing of the joys and sorrows that bind us together in beloved community. From Kelly Smith, a candle of hope that I'll tolerate my new chemotherapy well, following some bad news at the oncologist on Monday. I'll be starting it soon. And of course, friends, cards and calls are welcome. A candle of remembrance for Linton Harrington, who passed away suddenly on Wednesday morning after a long and difficult battle with Ewing sarcoma. A candle of wellness for Maureen Pryor as she recovers from a recent concussion. A candle of gratitude from John Hickey for all the well wishes he received here as he recovered from his concussion. A candle of joy to see the hands of time returned to our clock tower this week Thank you, Nancy Forstrom. Today, I celebrate 35 years of sobriety. I light a candle of deep gratitude for all the people and powers that have supported me one day at a time. A candle of thanks for my sister's recovery from hip replacement surgery and her healing, along with a candle of happiness for her 59th birthday. A candle for my niece Piper, who is suffering from depression due to the pandemic and bullies at school. I pray she feels the love around her and finds her path toward happiness. A candle of sorrow because I lost my job, and a candle of joy because I hated it anyway. A candle of gratitude for my COVID booster shot. A candle to remember my dad, who would have been 80 on Tuesday. A candle of joy for our wonderful visit with a friend from far away. A candle of sorrow and grace in remembering my dear pet cat, Bella, who taught me so much about love. My friends, let us rest in the gladness that we have each other to share our joy and our sorrow. Indeed, it makes all the difference. I'm going to offer an original prayer followed by shared silence. You can stand or raise your hand to participate in the quiet so as to remember someone you have lost this year. To begin, I want to invite you to breathe together. Sit where you are and let your bodies relax. Let yourself feel your shoulders drooping, your neck releasing its stress. Feel yourselves where you are and be present with your bodies. Please take a deep breath with me. And again. Spirit of life and love, come unto us, gather us in through time and space, to make all of our broken pieces whole in community. From our multiplicity, make us one. From our jagged little edges, give us the shape of beauty. Move in our hearts, connecting, complementing, caring. Help us to catch and create, making of us a holy, living mosaic. Amen. This is by far some of the most difficult soul work that we can do. Better, I think, to start with gratitude, which is definitely needed. From there, maybe we could graduate to acceptance, truly a graduate-level spiritual practice in itself. Kindness would be helpful too, especially toward oneself. Because, my friends, this is hard. This is hard. Making what is broken whole again is among the most challenging of all spiritual practices. I once heard the story of a colleague, her name was Kim, who went to a dinner party with some close friends. Everyone was having a great time. You know, they were all crowded into the little kitchen, as we all tend to do in big houses. So they're crowded into the kitchen, sipping on Chardonnay and reminiscing, and laughter abounds. Meanwhile, the hosts are setting up a feast fit for royalty. They were serving everything, all their favorite delights, and they were using their very best china, including that platter gifted them by their late grandmother. You see it coming. What happened next, of course, stunned everyone. Seems my colleague slipped on something, dropped on the floor, and proceeded to drop Grandma's platter. The dish was shattered, so was Kim's heart. Apologies were made, of course, as you would expect, but the loss felt significant, the heartbreak felt permanent. A few months later, trying to make things better, Kim's wife, Kim, consulted the great oracle, Google. Kim found a near-perfect replica of the ill-fated platter. She ordered it online and had it sent to the hosts with a very apologetic gift card inside. Things stayed quiet for quite a while, it seemed. The friendship was concerning to Kim now. It was a few months before she finally got a package in the mail. The card said, "Please let go of sorrow and regret. With enough faith and patience, even what has been broken can be made wholly new again. Kim, it's time to let go of the pain. It's time to see things in a different way." Intrigued, Kim started opening the package, and inside she found this beautiful mirror with a stunning mosaic frame, and the craftsmanship seemed truly fine. Then, as Kim inspected the piece, she realized that this mosaic was made from Grandma's shattered platter. Making what is broken whole again is indeed hard spiritual work. But isn't it time for us to see things in a new way? Now, my friends, I'm not suggesting that we go out and break things, at least not deliberately, although they do have those places where you can go and smash things just to get it all out. I bet it's fun. Let's not go break things deliberately. Though I would agree that some of our present illusions could do with being dropped. I am suggesting that the universe is always revealing opportunities for us to challenge our assumptions. Brokenness is a part of the human condition. Some more evolved people, at least more evolved than I, will even tell you that there is beauty in the breaking. That things broken open the way toward progress. That part of what gets shattered is our own fixed ideas, the kind that make us resist change, that keep us defensive. I suppose all that's probably true, but I'm not so sure I'm there just yet. Are you? Provincetown poet Stanley Kunitz wrote, "In a murderous time, the heart breaks and lives by breaking. It is necessary to go through dark and deeper dark and to not turn away." I am looking for the trail, he finished. Also looking for the trail was American writer and environmental activist Terry Tempest Williams. On the morning of September 11, 2002, she was trying to cope with all she was feeling about the horrible year, her annus horribilis, that had just passed, much the way we are doing with the year 2020, after a global pandemic took 4.5 million lives, while dramatically altering all living as we knew it. Feeling bereft of how to pick up the pieces of her shattered heart, Terry went out at dusk and stood at a rocky point in Maine, facing the ocean. The tide was out, the mudflats exposed. Terry looked east to the horizon and she spoke, "To whom it may concern." "Call it a prayer or a plea," she said. I said, "Give me one wild word and I promise I will follow." Now, that right there is the seed for a great spiritual practice. Consider for a second, consider what one word you would choose to define your life for, say, the next year, and then work to live into that word, to live into its implications. Imagine the life-changing possibilities to work devotionally toward peace, or service, or kindness, or generosity, or compassion. One wild word. And the word I heard in my own heart, Terry said, the word that the sea rolled back to me was mosaic. Mosaic. A conversation between what is broken. the art of taking that which is broken and creating something whole. Mosaic, celebrating brokenness and the beauty of being brought back together. Give me one wild word, and I promise I will follow. Terry kept her promise by taking the message of that word quite literally, traveling to Ravenna, Italy, and signing up for an apprenticeship in the ancient art of mosaic. Ravenna, the capital of the Holy Roman Empire, where lavish tales of the intersection of paganism and Christianity, where lavish tales are told in brilliant, heart-arresting, jeweled ceilings. A dazzling narrative of cut stone and glass. Terry met mosaicist Marco De Luca, who told her, "Our eyes are convex, not flat. So curved surfaces, like, say, the niche in a church, provide a place to rest our eyes." He pauses. I call this an embrace. In mosaics, it is in the curve that the light is reflected. For me, this translates into a spiritual practice. When my eyes are turned outward and inward at the same time, this is where I find depth. Mosaic is a metaphor for my language of desire. Now, of course, we UUs are no strangers to wordplay and to metaphor. Just look at all the ways we've come up with to avoid saying the one word, God. Only sometimes, all of you will agree, no other word will do. Say, when a heart is a broken heart that's been broken open, they say when that happens, the cracks is what lets in the light. How stinging that light can be, though, when one's heart is struck by immeasurable personal pain. When a person can only think to say, believing in it or not, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" And so, we've learned to piece things together. Mosaic, simultaneously shining the light on something and causing us to reflect. Revelation and reflection. In mosaics, there are ways to understand the fragmented world. The light is what reveals truth to us. And the gaps between the tiles reveal the truth in diversity. In mosaics, we can see disparate things creating one whole, one truth, one story, one grand vision. Besides COVID, 2020 also brought us other shattered assumptions, broken truths, and jagged ideals. We all watched with horror as we witnessed the brutal murder of George Floyd for nothing but hate, pernicious racism. And in that moment, we were forever changed. Our world was forever changed. All of our hearts broke, and we are still wondering how we can put those pieces back together. Only that's misguided thinking, a Humpty Dumpty idea. We can't put the pieces of our white worldview back together. They don't fit. Some things, like the Floyd video, can't be unseen. Broken truths cannot be reestablished. What we can do, though, is create something new, reframing what we see in the social mirror now. In part, in very good part, that's what the First U Mosaic Project is all about. You can learn more on these little yellow sheets in your order of service. We have long known that our spiritual work is to learn to live more fully into our principles, our 7 UU principles, beginning with dignity and ending with interconnectedness. Both great, wild words, too, by the way. For some time as a congregation, we have been asking ourselves and our leaders to help us get real, to walk the talk, to get real with being or becoming a post-white supremacist place that really is an all-welcoming, multiracial, multicultural institution loving beyond belief. It's time for us to get real, to love beyond belief. The Mosaic team is going to help us discern how we can best do that work. In mosaics, there is a perfection in imperfection. The gaps between the tiles all have their own stories to tell, their own truths to share, just like you and you and you and me and us. Mosaic, like our lives, are teeming with diversity. The art of it all is creating unity in this diversity, sort of like creating order out of chaos. What do our stories reveal about us? What do we see in the mosaic mirror? On what will we reflect? How shall we create a brilliant, refulgent narrative full of light and love and hope? I hope you will pay attention to the Mosaic team's announcements in the First Few Times in your orders of service, and I hope that you will answer their calls for interviews, for volunteers. Making what is broken whole again is very hard work. But again, isn't it time to see things in a new and different way? To see the light anew? Even if it is through the cracks of our open, broken hearts? Terry's teacher was Luciana. You must know the rules in ancient mosaics, Luciana said, before you can break them. She placed a gold piece of glass between her fingers and thumb, and on the heart he holds a wooden hammer at the base of its handle. Ding! She sticks the gold smalty into the exact shape she desires. You can learn this technique in 15 minutes, she says. It will take you a lifetime to master it. Mosaic is a way of organizing your life. Making mosaics is a very powerful way of thinking about the world. Mosaics are made by community, out of community. And so Terry learned that ancient art of mosaic making. Shards, she said, can cut and wound or magnify a vision. But more importantly, I have come to believe in my bones in the beauty of all things broken. We are individuals, much like individual pieces of glass or pottery that are different shapes and sizes and colors, all of which are broken. We are all broken, with imperfect, jagged edges, but always beautiful, always perfect in our imperfection. Mosaics celebrate brokenness and the beauty of being brought together. Such is the secret of the ancient art. So, my friends, this is your invitation, your altar call, if you will, very loosely gathered around our 7 UU principles from 7 to 1. My friends, see the beauty of all things broken. Imagine working devotionally. Choose one wild word and follow. Keep looking for the trail. The heart breaks and lives by breaking. Things broken open the way toward progress. Make what is broken whole again. Amen. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Pandemic or no, First U has been and continues to be a powerful source for good in our community, in this church and beyond. From our food ministry to quick pastoral response to troubling calls and the greater fight for justice, we continue to fit ourselves together to create a better world. You can practice mosaic making today, right now, by fitting your dollar bills together to create a powerful, strong, beautiful church working for dignity and freedom. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for all that you do, for all that you give, and all that you are. Isn't Jeff just terrific? I'm so happy he's here. We have some invitations to offer this morning, some ways for you to deepen in service and connect more with the church. I want to remind you that we do have an online virtual coffee hour right after this service, so to speak, but you don't need to wait. Nicholas Friesner has the Zoom room open already. We're only waiting for you to sign on and for those of you at home to sign on. We're looking forward to greeting you. Just a reminder as well, speaking of technology, we have a new database and community system called Realm. You should have gotten some kind of email asking you to log in to Realm and to create your own password. Once everyone does that, we'll all be linked together in community, kind of like Facebook or something like that. So if you've gotten that email, sign in. If you haven't gotten that email, call the church office. And if you've gotten that email and you're having trouble, call the church office, and also Ted Martin and I think Michael Capelli and a couple of others are here today in the office willing to help you. Our small group ministry program, which you know as our chalice circles and our soul circles, ours is a strong and vibrant small group program with several options for joining and participating in one of the circles. The leaders of the circles have even agreed to let you sit in once and experience the circle in a sort of get-to-know-you way before you make a commitment to join them. So check them out. Janet Braylove tells me the best way to get people into small group ministry is to invite you personally. So I'm inviting every single one of you personally right now to check out our small group ministry program and consider a chalice circle or a soul circle. Speaking of missing out or not missing out, as the case may be, former minister and member Peter Larman is offering an educational opportunity called Little State, Big Weight. It's a part learning kind of opportunity and a field trip opportunity. It's going to happen soon, in the next week or so, and there are limited seats left. So if you've had interest, see the first few times to register, or contact me directly. I'm the registrar, and I'll be happy to help you. Peter is an excellent facilitator, and it's something, if you have the slightest interest in history and racism in Rhode Island and all that sort of thing, you won't want to miss it. Check that out. And now it's time for our benediction. I used to ask people to join hands for the benediction. I don't think we're allowed to do that either these days. But you can hold each other in your hearts in namaste even. I bow to the divine in you. My friends, go in peace. Walk in the ways of truth, justice, and love. Let your living bless the world. Be whole, be well, be you. Bless your hearts. Amen.
Let's recite together the words for our chalice extinguishing.
We carry the flame of peace and love and hope until we meet again.